I'm a project manager, and I also have a background in risk management. I've been in risk management also for some time. I was doing this master on project management, and there was a lady who came to tell us about chaotic project management. And chaotic, normally what we try to do, and let me put very black and white PMI there, we think that we can control the world. We have our we have all our measures, we have all our tools, we have the tools with us, and put me somewhere in the world and I can do a project. Because I have all the tools with me. And I can do risk management, I can do HR, I can do all the things, time management, all the things I have tools with me and I can do it. The assumption on that is that the world can be controlled. And that's on the chaotic conditions, what of a chaotic project management, a chaotic point of view, I should say, is that yes, that's part of it, but there's also a part that is not controlled. That really things get out of the blue. And in the scientific position, you have that is what we call the chaotic situation. And then, how could you do then the project management there? And that was what made me thinking and what made me make this thesis. And what I want to do is tell you the tool that you've now evaluated, how it has been built, what was the process, what are the components of it, and well, and also tell you a little bit about the background of it. I'll give you some wordings. The first block is uncertainties. And for uncertainties, I first are going to explain you a couple of terminologies. Because we have chaotic, we have complex, we have complicated, and someone has written there some ordering. And he says you can look from different points of views of the world. You can say the world is it, but I'm more that it's the way you look at it. And the most simple way is that everything can be controlled. If I do that, then this will happen. If I if I hurt myself, I'll feel out. That's a simple way, direct, nothing between. Everybody understands, you don't need to explain. The next world is the complicated world. Still, this one is still working, but there's a lot going on. Probably when you go when you are ill and someone tries to, your doctor tries to understand. Sorry?
Diagnose.
Yeah, to diagnose. Yeah. So, and when it's really difficult, okay, then it's complicated. And I'm working at an S with trains. We have engineers who know. There's an engineer who knows everything about brakes and everything about doors. That's very complicated. And if he tells me step by step, I can follow him. But okay, he knows such a lot, and he can, if something is wrong with that door, he can get very quickly into it. So that's complicated. Then we have the complex world. That's a world that it is not possible anymore to understand how things really have gone. Most times, when you look in hindsight, you can see how things have gone. But if you again start there, there's never the promise that you again get where we started from. Is that understandable what I said?
Is it because there's more than one factor?
Yeah. But there's also that, this is what you most times see when humans are in the game. Because we have our unreasonable things. And so you don't know, today I'm like this, and tomorrow I'm like that. Maybe I had a fight, an argument with someone else, so I will react differently than today, and you can see into me, because you don't know why. So that's more than in the complex. And if we go to the extreme there, we have the chaos. And the chaos is a theoretical situation where you say there is no connection anymore between the cause and the effect. It's gone. And it's of course a theoretical point of view. But let's say it's not only theoretical, because in physics, really that there are places there where this is happening.
Chaos theory.
Yeah, chaos theory. Yeah, exactly. And that's also where the thinking comes.
There may be a relation between cause and effect, but you don't see it. That's the point.
Well,
You
that's,
don't
that's
know.
also a point because then it's within a certain context.
Yeah.
And so it's physics, it's within in the context of our universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's something you can never exclude. Yeah.
But just one question, by chaos you mean the world becoming more complicated due
Yeah,
to
things-
all kinds of reasons?
Yeah, things are happening. You're a project manager, you thought everything was under control, and here someone is yelling, and there's someone getting ill, and the solution doesn't work as it was described, or whatever.
And the Prime Minister calls something.
Yeah.
The whole situation.
I'm in the train world, and we had the Vira debacle.
Yeah.
That was really a chaotic situation. Lots of political influence, technical issues, and well, all kinds of stuff. Also, till the Vira, please.
Do you mean by chaotic, of course I understand, stuff happens that you couldn't have foreseen.
Yeah.
So you also couldn't have a mitigation plan in place
Correct.
because you didn't know it was coming. But are those things that you can give a name, like indeed the Prime Minister
Yeah.
calls?
Yeah.
You don't know that beforehand,
No.
but chaos is not something fuzzy.
No. It's the difficulty is that chaos we also think also on it's kind of negative, but this is this is a situation where things are happening without cause, and when you do something, one day it will be going that, or the effect will be this, and the next day the effect will be that, and you cannot tell, and that's chaos. So it's nothing with the feeling chaotic.
No. It's ungraspable.
Yes.
At a certain moment.
Yeah, really the essence is that there is no relationship anymore between cause and effect. You do something and you don't know what is going to happen. And when you see something, you never can tell in this theoretical position where it came from. Of course, this is really the extreme.
Why do you call it uncertainty?
I'll get back to that one. Thank you.
Is this also something to do with, let's say, the scoping of projects? So the bigger the project, the more the chance you will have that it will be at least complex or...
Yes, definitely. Of course, when you go from simple to complicated, that's easy. This is more what I already said, when people are involved. It's not an engineering task anymore. You're getting in the real world, I would say. Because I've been in a small project. I think I had 2 or 4 people maybe, and it was for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really chaos. There were things happening that I couldn't imagine. Really, that shouldn't happen. I couldn't, no one in my team could have foreseen that those things happen, and this was really a small project. So it's not only this big project, but if you are talking about projects like the Noord-Zuid line, the Vira, all those big infrastructure projects, most like projects where there are people involved, not in my backyard, etc., and political, etc., then you move into this side.
And with people you mean impacted.
Yeah.
Does an unknown automatically make it chaotic?
Yeah. You have them also here, because this is what we call in a theory, this is the ordered world, there's still the connection, and this is the unordered world, so also here. But here you can sometimes see, when you look back, you can understand, okay, this is the way it went, but you can never predict it. This is theory, of course. But you know people who say, oh, this is a complex project, or oh, this is a chaotic project. I'm now in the role of a scientist, and then you have to define things, so that's why. But in normal daily use, this is more or less synonym. And what you see is that these, especially complex and complicated, simple you don't normally see, and chaos, they are, people are discussing about it without well defining it, and that sometimes gives the difficulties. And as a scientist, you have to define everything, you have to make models. So
Yeah, it's kind of artificial segregation.
Yeah. So it's more a theoretical point of view, but it can help you. When you say, okay, I see in my mind it's possible to have, of course I hope that there are ordered things, but it's also possible that there are unordered things, and then you talk about a chaotic world. So in that world you allow if you come from the right, you allow that there is chaos. So you are not saying, okay, when I see something that is chaotic, oh, I have to try to get back to this world. Because that is our normal behavior. We try to regulate it back to that we again have it in control. But in a chaotic world, you say, okay, I know it's happening. I'm trying to do it in this way because that's easy. But okay, it's also there. Because this world also, it gives threats, but it gives also opportunities. Here there are no sudden opportunities. No verrassingen. Surprise, thank you. So easy. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is the model that's below the work I did. If you go to the right, you talk about risk. If you are on the left, you call it an uncertainty. There we are, sir. Because in uncertainty, this connection isn't there anymore. There is something, and we had it this morning with the early warning signs. So uncertainty is someone thinks, I'm not sure about it, and that's an uncertainty. You don't know where it's going to, you don't know where it comes from, but that's it. And sometimes you can work it back to that way, or you can model it to that way, and sometimes not.
So all four of them you call chaotic.
Yeah. From a chaotic point of view, you accept that these four positions are there. And and now I exaggerate, but if you see PMI only works with these two.
Yes.
If you have the big blue, the big book.
Otherwise you cannot write a book.
Well, there are books written about chaotic. I can tell you. Then you're
You
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I would like to say is that so the Prince 2 and the PMI doesn't talk about this uncertainty part.
No.
So for example, in my current program, it's running for 1.5 years, we are in that uncertainty period. But we manage a risk register with all the risks, trying to maintain it like this ordered part.
Yeah.
None of those risks have ever moved out of that risk register for the last 1.5 years. It just stays there.
Yeah, they say that.
And we do not know how to. Yeah, the issues are getting resolved by itself.
By themselves, yeah. Yeah, sometimes circumventing them, sometimes they.
Or some just props up, and that we just add entries, but we are not closing the entries.
I'll come back to that in the end, because that is something that I learned when I was starting during my studies. I said, okay, this it is, and this risk management, forget about it. No longer, old stuff. And then there was a very experienced project manager who said, no, we shouldn't do that. Because this is, in a way, it's easy. Because strict rules, and if you follow the rules, then all the steps, and you have the nice pictures with the heat diagrams, etc. Fine, good, communicatable, whatever. So if you can do it with that, that's easy. But the point is, what I want with my research is, give something that can be used here, when this doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, and maybe you can use in one project both.
Yeah, I use both. I use both. Yeah, I prepared for that, but in the meantime, I do that. I'm already telling a little bit about things later on, but
okay. Sorry. I
No
have
problem.
one point.
Yes, please.
Because we were discussing the complexity on humans get involved, like users or stakeholders.
Yeah.
You can also see it as a risk. And that is
Yes.
should be part of your project. Hey,
Definitely.
And then mitigate it on the other side.
yeah, but then so it should be there. So I didn't understand why you should throw it away, because it should be part of your approach as project manager.
Exactly.
But then, how does it then come back in this model then? Or do you come back to
You said two things. The fact that at first I throw it away, it was not the right solution.
Okay.
So I understood from this senior project manager, okay, yes, sorry, that was too enthusiastic. We'll keep that one. And then the next one.
You mean for every risk you have one rule to mitigate it?
Yeah, or more, or whatever. But
it's a
we have a method for
chain
it.
of events.
Yeah, we have a method for it.
Yeah. And with your services you have no chain of events.
Yeah. The other thing of the humans is that humans are complex, chaotic.
But
In
You
essence.
can give them a line item, but
Is
that
it-
doesn't help you. Okay.
No.
Is this only on human
No,
factors?
no.
Oh,
What I also said, with humans, and of course there are humans who are very reasonable.
And the hurricane, does it also fit on that side?
Yeah, that's also on that side. And there you come in with what you said, okay, it's depending on how well are you able to, how big is your world, because we can now much better predict hurricanes, or predict
Yeah.
hurricanes and weather
So that's what
than
goes
for
to the other side.
Exactly. Yeah. So please keep in mind that it's a way of looking at the world. It's not how the world is, but it's a way of looking at it and not dealing with it. And this is the way we are all used to, and this is, I think, something that, well, I hope that it's something that can help you. The next building block, so the first building block is this world with the uncertainties. Next one is, I'm a biologist originally. I didn't get work then, there was high unemployment, so I went into the IT and became, in the end, project manager. But in the biology, and I'm then an ecologist, so in ecology that's about systems. So I'm not looking at one species, one flower, or illness or whatever, but I'm looking at a lake. And in that lake, I'm not looking at certain fishes, but there's so much kilogram on fish, and there's so much kilogram on on plants, and there are the stability of the lake is something interesting, and how the energy streams through that lake. Also, pretty theoretical things. You have an ecosystem. It's ecology, you have an ecosystem. An ecosystem is, I'm interested in something. Whatever, I'm interested in something. That can be a lake, it can be a glass of water, where the bacteria and whatever. I'm a water biologist, you hear already. Okay, that's the ecosystem. Next is an ecosystem is built of entities, what we call it. Things in an ecosystem. In the biologists, most times they are species. So we have the African savanna, and I see lions, and I see giraffes, and I see rhinoceros, and I see all kinds of bushes, whatever. So these are the entities in the system. And these entities have relations. And these relations is depending on what you're looking for. If we talk about, it's possible that, for instance, that it is first go one step further. And if you look at all the entities and relations in an ecosystem, you're talking about a web. And the most famous web is the food web. So there, the relationship is eaten and being eaten, eat and being eaten. That's the kind of relationship. And then, okay, there's the lion, and there's the... It's a kind of relationship. It's a little strange, but it is. Yes, indeed. Yeah. But also, so this is all about modeling, it's theoretical. So it's a way that you are interested in one or the other way in the relations between all those entities. Food is then the most easy one. But another one, for instance, is that space for birds for a nest in a tree or whatever. We see now that we have those pakitas. I don't know the English word for it. I'm really sorry. Parrots. Yeah, that are now really. You see them more and more in the Netherlands, and they have their breed in trees, and they are pulling there the birds that are normally there. So that's also a kind of relationship. So this relationship can be everything can be a lot. An ecosystem is, per definition, a chaotic system. There's order in it, but there's also, I don't know where it comes from. Then there's resilience in this system. If the system is being hit by one or the other way, for instance, what we had now with that we had so long no water, no rainfall, etc. And some systems really, they go down. Because all the plants are going down, and then the animals that feed from it are going down. So the system is hit. Sometimes, and now we're raining again, some ecosystems recover and others don't. Or maybe they recover in another state or whatever. And that's what we call resilience. So the system is being hit, and will it be able to get back to its normal situation? And then that was the thing that I was thinking as a biologist when I started with this stuff. There is in biology what they call the diversity stability hypothesis. And it is the more complex your food web is, the more stable is your ecosystem.
Because you can make different choices.
Exactly. You have this one lion, and if it only can feed on a rabbit, and a rabbit is getting ill and the population goes down, the lion goes down. But if it has plenty of choice.
But that's not only within the ecosystem, but also in the surroundings of the ecosystem.
Yeah, but that's
Is the ecosystem capable of putting things in?
exactly. But the ecosystem.
Model
Yeah,
of
that's right. But the ecosystem is that somewhere you put this one around
Yes.
it, and then you look at as een zelfstandige eenheid. As
Independent.
yeah.
But it's really never independent.
No. But if you want to tell something about it, you sometimes have to make that assumption. Yep, certainly. It's the same as with our universe. Is it really independent? We think, but we cannot prove.
And wait another 30 billion years.
Yeah. Okay, the third building block is dialogue, and we had it downstairs before this meeting, trust. That's there. You can have a discussion, and discussion has to do something with the Greek, and it is about throwing things. You throw things to one another. I say something, he says something, he says something. And with the dialogue, you're going to look together for a shared meaning. So you're trying to understand what do you think, and we have a problem, and together you try to get somewhere.
You mean meaning or opinion? Shared opinion?
Meaning.
Okay.
I mean meaning. What's the difference? What are you thinking about?
It's shared.
Meaning?
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know, it was just puzzled by the word.
Okay, so there's something happening. There's
Meaning is betekenis,
yeah.
and opinion is opvatting.
Yeah,
That's the
okay.
difference. So that was when.
No, it is really the meaning. So it's really the meaning of life. Things like that.
Betekenis,
Yeah. Betekenis, yeah. It's not opinion because you try here to get to something that is scientifically that's right. That's a fact or whatever. You try to understand it. Try to understand the world, and you try to do that by really working together. Learning, you're learning there. It's accomplished through inquiry into assumptions. So what you do when you are in dialogue, you try to understand from the others and also invite the other to challenge you on your assumptions. What are the things that are below what you're telling, what you say, your beliefs, but that it doesn't need to be only your beliefs. And it stresses the whole among the parts and focus on connections between the parts. So that's really, these are also from the scientific literature, so they're a little bit big, but that's the idea. It's really something different than discussion. That's what I would like to stress. And then the next building block are interventions. So there is a book from Nicole Mulder. There we know each other from. That's also the lady that brought me on this topic on a chaotic project management. And she has written a book about chaotic project management, and she says in a chaotic situation you don't have the ability to do something and then that something will happen. So the mitigation actions are not available any longer. And what you can do then is that you prepare your team by interventions, and you prepare your ecosystem, the people in your ecosystem, by interventions, so that if something happens, that you're prepared. So if something comes out of the blue, that everybody can say, okay, this is something we had to expect. We want to now, and then one of the things is, for instance, that's easy talking. Continuously focus on the higher project goal. As a project manager, in the classical way, you are there to deliver a product. If something is happening by that product isn't, you cannot make that product because there's something not available or whatever. Then if you only focus on that product, you're stuck. But if you know that where is the product being used for? What does the owner of the project want to do with the product? You can you have more options to think and to react, and that is that higher goal. So
Yeah, but that's more abstract.
The why of the purpose.
why purpose? I should have used that word. Thank you. Yeah.
Explain a little bit.
Yeah, please ask, because sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so just a little bit, because I've worked for almost 20 years for an IT and consulting company, and we always made a difference between, of course, you have projects, you have multi-project or teams, and you have programs.
Yeah.
And the big difference between a project and a program is that project focus on project deliverables, time, costs, and results. And the program focus on realizing business benefits. And those are typically the big and hairy initiatives which you cannot structure and control with a project approach. So what's this different compared to
As a matter of fact, then the programs are in that complex world.
Yeah.
Projects are in this in the unordered world. Projects are in the ordered world. But my point is that also in projects in this ordered world, there is also chaos. So this sharp division isn't there any longer. And maybe our normal projects are getting too complex, or are working in too complex, increasingly complex environments. So yes, from the old days, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's also what I've been taught.
Yeah.
But I think now projects also can see aspects of chaos, and also there you should be prepared. In programs, you are more prepared. Then still, the fact is, if they understand everything what is being shown here, but they are more prepared for those kind of things.
Yeah, but in programs you always translate more before you have this bigger program, and underneath there are projects. So you create a project out of this more abstract layer, and you define it to a project.
Yeah. In my mind, in my opinion, now we're talking about an opinion. Sorry, I shouldn't point at you, but now we're talking about an opinion. In my opinion, is that a project more and more also should be able to do that. And also the challenges to projects are more and more that also their chaotic aspects show up. They're not only there. And if any chaotic aspect, if you have a program with a lot of projects on it, and you want to deal with every chaotic, if you say project manager, you're only for the audit stuff, and all the unaudit stuff goes up. Well, I think you have a hard.
No, but I'm asking myself, is this really something new, or was it always there?
Yeah, of course it's also.
I would like to add, the real issue is what I really see is that the environment really in which we are working have changed drastically over the past 10 years, at least I can say. But still we are referring to the old vocabularies, old school book, textbook things. So if I go to a project management course, wherever it is, it's still talking about the old book. Whereas the reality is something different right now. So it is there already with us. And you raised here the point of a program and a project. I am struggling in a program for the last 1.5 years. So it's a program, it's not a project. But it's due to the complex environment we are in. So one point that I would like to bring here is that as people working in project management and program management communities, I think we need to really look at these realities and start educating people. Like the stakeholders that we are working with in big multinational companies have no idea about this.
Yeah.
Really, to be frank with you. And somebody has to do that coaching role.
Mostly they don't have any idea about project management.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, and we also keep referring to this. Every expert comes and talks about that triangle. That's the thing, the whole
Yeah.
thing. And then the second thing is project plan. Third thing is this risk register and risk management.
Exactly.
Then status meetings. Project management is all about these 4 items.
Yeah.
And this is, I never thought that such a topic ever existed until I came and I heard it from him here actually.
And
The
you're
point is
very,
also,
makes you happy.
Yeah, at least I'm happy that is being acknowledged. you know.
Yes.
I think what you both talk about, what I try with the research is give words for something that is already there, but then based on science.
Because the inputs can come from higher management, from
Yeah.
all these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So that's what I try to structure. So it's really, as a biologist, I still have some scientific thing in my head, and I will think, okay, I want to make structure and to see if it helps. So these are also this one. Let me see. So, yeah, the right one. This is also one we discussed already today earlier. Act on the based on first, or maybe not the one with the apes. He had quite a strong meaning on that, a strong opinion on that. So that would be really interesting. Another one is use a development approach which tolerates fuzziness. So if you have a project and you think, well, there can be complexity, chaos, whatever. Okay, try not to put everything in a square box. Also, maybe you do it with a phased approach. At your first detail, only the first phase, and all the further phase. Okay, we'll see. That's also a kind of approach. And the last one, work result oriented where it fits. So that's also, when you work chaotic, it's not that you say the whole world is chaos and I just wait and I will see. And then I will act. Now, where it is possible, where you have, for instance, if you have a testing in IT and testing trajectory, well, it's most times that's quite, you can plan all the tests, whatever. Yeah. So these are the 4 building blocks. Now together, and I call it the uncertainty web, we have this project ecosystem. So that is, I'm the project manager, it's my world. So there are my stakeholders, there are my team members, there are my steering group, whoever is in, I think is important to me. So that's the delimitation. And maybe I'm wrong, okay. And of course there will also be influences from the outside, but this is my model of my world. And a model is not 100%. There's me as the project manager. Then there are the entities. Those entities are individuals. So these are not departments, these are not teams, these are people, real flesh and blood. So people from IT, from a project, whatever. We have relationships, and these relationships are dialogues. So I'm talking to my stakeholders, I try to get into a dialogue based on trust. And what I do is I'm looking for those uncertainties. So I'm really very focused on when I talk to one of my stakeholders, this is something that these early warning signs, you could say. I'm trying to hear something, is there something which I do not fully understand, and please ask. And when you have, and it's not only when you have the uncertainty, the way that you manage these things is that you apply these uncertainties interventions. And you can do it in totally different ways, these interventions. You can of course plan for it. What I heard a story about a project manager who worked with this chaotic project management. He had those 11 cards. He had really made physical cards of it, had it on his desk. And every day he schudded it, he shuffled, thank you, and he shuffled them. And then he picked one out of it, said, okay, this is where I give today attention to. Because in a way it is chaotic, so why should I? There's no reason to pick the one or the other. It's a way of doing. But I thought that it's very illustrative. Today I'm going to give attention to that everyone understands this higher goal. So when I talk to a stakeholder,
And you know that even in the chaotic world there are simple things.
Yeah.
You have to identify them.
Yes. Well, the point is, it is the way you look at your world. The world is still the same.
Yes.
And you can look from different angles. And if you try to, anyway, it's my opinion, if you try to look at the world from a simple or a complicated, then you're not able to manage everything. Or you're not able to deal with anything. Because the word managing is all is already something that is on the right side. So using this, so this is what I call the uncertainty web. And it's a tool, it's an instrument, it's something that should be in your head and that you should apply. And then what I hope then is that it can help you when you have your normal risk management, where you can deal with a lot of things, and you can, on the other hand, you can prepare your team and your environment, your whole system on when things are coming out of it. For using this instrument, what I already said, keep using the normal risk management, because it's really easy, and also it's very good to communicate with. The only thing is, don't go into in all the details. That's also normal when you have the PMI book. They also tell that and all the other things, but because that's not when. Sometimes I hear a story about a risk manager who had for a big program, whatever. He had 300 risks. You can't manage 300 risks. I've been a risk manager in Shell, on one of the businesses of Shell, and the goal there, or the way it worked there was that we have a risk register and we manage the top 10. And the rest is on a kind of parking list. And
Yeah.
by now and then we look at it, but actively managing 10, because it's not possible to keep more, I mean 10 or 9, whatever, but anyway, it's just a small number.
That's exactly what it says in the PMI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's recognising it all,
Yeah, because-
or mitigation, or recognising it and saying we're going to do anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just checking every so often, hey, is it still not doing anything, or?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then on the background, use the uncertainty web. So by now and then, especially when you have kick-off meetings or when you have team meetings, whatever, also not only on okay, these are the products and how are we, how's the plan or whatever, but sometimes you have also the more social things. Then as a project manager, keep that in mind and use those interventions. The awkward thing here is that the more relationships you have, the more complex is your uncertainty web, the more stable is your project ecosystem. And that's something that is a twist of mind. Because as a project manager, for me, when I have a relationship, I have a dependency. And I don't like dependencies. I try to circumvent or whatever to get rid of dependencies. But that's here different. But that's because here you're also talking in dialogue with your partners, with your stakeholders, whatever. So that helps you, that there should be trust.
If you say dialogue, there is no meetings anymore?
Yes, there is. It's a way of talking with each other. It can be in a meeting with 10 people. The dialogue is not that it is only 2 people. Good question, thanks. Yeah? And then just have a try. This is the book Value-Based Project Management from Nico in London. There those 11 interventions are described in detail. And when I get an article, you have to wait, but then you could also see the rest. I thank you for your attention, but what I especially thank you is for your good questions. That helps me again, and of course for filling in the stuff. These are my data, so I'm really pleased.
I have one question, because one of your the tool, what it says is use transformational leadership, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, this transformational is a very generic word, right?
Yeah.
But what are your top recommendations in transformational leadership?
I fully agree with your first statement that it is fussy, whatever. For me, I think that when you already thinking about it, that the world is not fully ordered, but you also give room to of our tolerating or have a vision on that it is chaotic, then you're already there. And I'm not of course in the scientific literature there's a lot of written about, and there are also books. I can specialize in that, so I cannot say this and this and this about details. And I think in the management literature, transformational is a little bit buzzword. But that's my opinion. So it's not a scientist now that's speaking, but now it's me as a person.
Yes, similar for this intervention on transformation leadership. Is there something more behind the other interventions as well?
Yeah, in that book.
Okay.
Yeah. So all the interventions are
They are
described.
explained with what type
Yeah,
of capabilities.
Exactly. Yeah. So I borrowed. Thank you very much, and that's it.
Yeah.